Alright, so as previously mentioned, this is already used, so as you can see the bearings are already pressed in. If you had a brand new kit, you'd have to press your bearings in, start there. And then what we're going to do is take this T20, and we need to go ahead and bolt down the bearing retainer plate. Now being that I don't want these bolts to come back out, I am going to use a little blue Loctite on these guys. Get our bearing retainer plate in place, and you can see very easily how this actually wraps around the edge of the bearing to keep it from sliding back up this way, which would cause, well, bad damage. That would be bad. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down just because I'm going to get a couple of these in place first. Don't go crazy torquing these down. Remember, you are going into aluminum. Alright, so once you've got 4 bolts in place, we're ready to go ahead and slide the cams in. It's pretty obvious which cam goes where. It's hard to mess up. Your spline cam is going to go in here with the big roller bearing. Your non-spline cam is going to go right in here with the actual center race. So y'all have heard me complain about this in previous videos. Lucas extends oil engine life. No it doesn't, unless you're running very, very low RPM. But what I will do is use this as a great, cheap assembly lube. Stuff's like honey. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of assembly lube on both of the journals here and slide these cams in place. Let's start off with the easy one. Of course, I want to put a little bit of assembly lube on the actual cam journals as well. I'll assembly lube those properly shortly. Set that there. Let's get the front of this one. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a dead blow. Just driving in. Alright, I can get to my ring here. There's one cam in. This guy goes in much, much easier. Just slides right in. Alright. SE204s. Now of course what's going to end up happening here is we have to line up these guys here and get our chain on. So, let's go ahead and get our chain out. Alright, there's my dot pointing straight in. See where my dot is on this side. My dot pointing straight in. Just like that. Alright, now, did I get these lined up? No! Yes, I did. Look at that. Oh, first shot, son. So you gotta be careful with it, but that's what you want to have happen. You want your dots lined up across there. This cam's on, ready for its tensioner underneath. Goes on top. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't care though. There's no pressure on this, so I'll hold it in place. Where's the bolts? So again, I don't intend for these to come out easily, so we are going to lock. We're going to Loctite the oil pump in place.
I saw a drop going in the oil pump. I'm like, no.
Wouldn't hurt anything. That's the whole point of the hydraulic setup here is the fact that it doesn't require as much pressure. It doesn't have that constant spring pressure. Why Harley thought that was a particularly good idea is beyond me. I have a feeling that was just due to some accountant somewhere not listening to the engineer. So again, going into aluminum, don't want it super tight, just. And I want to rotate and make sure, yes, we are still on the money. Good, good, good. Front tensioner, we're not going to bolt on until we actually bolt the front of this together. I don't know why we have the rocker arms sitting here, but we do. The rocker arms don't usually come in the kit, FYI. My argument is that if we go ahead and install the oil pump first, we make sure that we have this fully seated, everything's in, this is on whatever shaft it needs to be on. That's clearly a keyed shaft without us having to do a whole lot of work to align it. So we're going to take our snap ring, check our snap ring, make sure, yeah, there's a beveled side to it, so it's going to go this way. We'll take our snap ring pliers. Alright. Again, everything's lined up nicely. Bam, bam, bam. Alright, with that, our cams are now installed. So we're going to go put the oil pump actually into the crankcase. It's a little trick when we go to slide this O-ring in place. Take a little bit of that Lucas, run around the edge of it. It'll help that O-ring slide into place without getting bound up. Oil pump going in.
You know what? I'll take this portion out first. It's keeping it all in order. Okay, now.
All right, wait, no. Before you even bother putting any of that in there, push it all the way on.
Okay.
Have it fully seated. Because that way you're not fighting all these other pieces.
There we go.
Felt the clip into place?
Just felt that seal pop in.
That's where the magic of some lubrication.
Push all that in there.
Now you can assemble the rest of the outside of it. I will allow this. I'll get your two smaller blue O-rings here. You got your pick over there still?
Yeah.
And I've actually still got a little Lucas on it, so I'm lubing these O-rings up too. I'll lean back and just pick them. Like a glove.
Yep. It's in there. Nice and good.
I've got two O-rings right here. Point out the O-rings you're pulling out. Let the audience know.
These two right here. The only O-rings.
What do they do?
They come out.
They come out. They come out, the new one go in.
That is what they do. They come the fuck out.
Here you go. No, I'm using Lucas kind of glue it in place.
Alright.
Okay, so at this point, what's the next step? Come on, Keith. What's the next step, Keith?
Bring the cam plate over.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
The next step is to lube the shit.
That's what I meant. Bring it over here so I can lubricate the journals.
I got it. All right. Lube me up, buddy. All right. Whoa. Jesus, man. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, my God. All right. So, I'm going to slather up the cams. All right. So now what we're going to do is have you take that glove off. So that I can Michael Jackson this. Knew that was coming.
Oh, nothing but net, and you missed it.
Nobody, please. Alright, we gotta line up this. We also need to line up cams, make sure they get in their spot. Oh, like a glove. And you see our bolt holes right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, ready for us to bolt in. Cams are all in position. Notice this cams, I left the cams here, Keith, lined up, dot to dot. Well, okay, these are lined up correctly. Now we need the 4 bolts to bolt the oil pump down. Now we want to bolt down the oil pump. Alright, so we had to reuse the oil pump bolts from the old oil pump. We're going to go ahead and Loctite these guys in as well. Still blue Loctite. I want to get all of these started before I actually torque it down. That way I make sure that as this draws it on, it's fully aligned. This is going to be
We're going for German?
Well, no, this is going to be in a neighborhood. These are still the same size bolts. They're going to be in the same rough range of torque. Go ahead and give me a top sprocket too, because top sprocket, I see this is keyed to only go on one way.
I'm going to need that 357 spacer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not worried about the spacer just yet. Well, we can go ahead and set it on there, though.
Where's the bottom?
See, the bottom's got a dot. That's what I wanted to see. So that dot, because now what we need to do...
Line that dot up with the other one.
Exactly. Give me the spacer. Now the spacer on here, no, it's chamfered on both sides, so it doesn't matter which way I put it on. I'll put 357 out, that way if I ever take it off, I know it's 357.
Do it.
And again, see how you've got that, you can see the keyway right there, where this will go.
That should already be lined up properly.
We know the cams are lined up properly, so
Right.
what we have to do is rotate.
Spin the motor over.
Spin the motor back.
Okay.
So you can just throw it in gear and...
Should still be in gear, isn't it?
You know what? I think you're right. So let's...
Bam. Almost. Ooh.
Alright. That's it. We actually almost had it topped up. Go ahead and verify. Take like this, or one of the small screwdrivers, and just don't drop it in there, don't force it in there, but you should feel you should feel it up toward the top.
Down the spark plug?
Yep. Down the spark plug hole.
Oh yeah.
Right there at the top.
Where you put in the other one. Whee.
We good.
Alright.
Alright, so now what we'll do is go ahead and put our chain on, and then we can get this set up on there. We've already got our spacer in place. We've already clipped this one down. We can put, no, we're not going to put this on.
No, we're not.
No.
We're going to measure the flatness.
Right now, everything else, no, before we even measure the flatness on here, we need to go ahead and bolt the actual plate down now. Because remember, bolt behind there, we have to bolt the plate down next.
Okay.
And then we measure flatness. Because again, as we draw the plate down, it's going to make
Draw
this
that
slightly
in.
different.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, you know, I just realized y'all couldn't actually see what I did there. We already had this guy in gear, up in fifth gear. What are you doing?
I'm going to point it over there.
Why? No, we don't need to. I'm just going to tell him what I did.
Okay.
Just turn the rear wheel to make the engine spin while it's in the topmost gear. That's all. Put a little dab of blue Loctite in each of these. Just start them all by hand. Alright, now I want to draw this down evenly, so I'm going to go in a crisscross pattern. Alright. Now, we can set, well, we don't want to put the chain on there yet, you're right. Although what we do want to do is go ahead and bolt it mostly down. Even if we don't torque it completely to spec, we want to have a bolt and a washer on there to hold it nice and flat for us. So you want to take a straight edge, put it across. If you've got one, whichever one of your gears is further out, sitting further out, that's the one you want to line it up against. Take a 10th thou feeler gauge. Make sure it won't go underneath. Good, yeah.
Check both sides.
Just to be thorough. Alright. So now we can pop those gears back off, put the chain on, put it back on. We're ready to start bolting it back together.
All right. All right.
Put a little Loctite on the bolt.
Yep. Started by hand.
Always start it by hand. You don't want to cross thread until the aluminum. Now, unfortunately, we've not found that you can buy these pads by themselves. So what we ended up doing was actually the secondary pad on the cams was more worn than the primary pad. So we swapped the pads. The pads are the same front and rear.
When we say more worn, we're talking very lightly. This setup was put on someone's bike prior to me buying it, maybe for what, less than 1,000 miles?
That's more than 1,000 miles worth. This might be like 5,000 to 10,000 mile order. Put a little blue Loctite on the bottom bolt. We're going to put that in there first. Now the fun part is going to be trying to torque this. You realize that?
But I'm not going to torque it.
Well, actually, no. You know what? You can torque it. I just have to hit your rear brake.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I can bolt this back on here.
That's what I'm saying. You just slide the two bolts back in, and then we can actually use the rear brake while you torque it. Little dab will do you.
Harley sells a tool. I think JMP, a bunch of people sell a tool. Jim's Tools. It's a little block of polymer with little teeth cut out. Basically, you jam in between these gears so they won't rotate, and allows you to torque these down properly. But since everything's hooked up to the engine, I'm basically going to hook my rear brake back up down here, and since it's in gear, we're just going to hit the rear brake and torque it down that way. Well, I mean, I got to put pressure on the brake.
I know, but not that much, is it? Bam.
Good.
You good.
Let me go ahead and give this a clean down before I put it on. It just looks like crap, so we'll clean it down and we'll put this back